established. Darul Ulooms have been established. Muslims have been flocking from one land to another purely to learn the deen based on the methodology of Hadith Jibreel. So this is the methodology that we have from the tradition of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that you learn Islam, Iman and Ihsan, and then those rules which lead to you preparing yourself for the day of Qiyamah, and you become aware of the signs of Qiyamah. Islam meaning what? You learn your Aqidah. You learn Al-Qa'idah, the foundation of your deen. This is what Al-Qa'idah is, the foundation of your deen. You learn it. And then, once the Aqidah, your belief becomes firm, you start learning about those things which concern you on a daily basis. Sahih? So once you learn about how to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how to believe in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how to pray your salah properly, how to give zakah, what are the transactions of zakah and so on, what is the fiqh of Ramadan, what is the fiqh of Hajj, and everything else within it. For example, the fiqh of inheritance. These things concern us, we need to learn this. The fiqh of buying and selling. This concerns us, we need to learn this. This is sacred knowledge of the deen. The fiqh of traveling. How do you prepare yourself for travel? Not your passport and your ticket, but you yourself as an individual. How do you prepare yourself? Should your wudu be made before you leave home or during your journey? What should be done? And how do you pray your salah whilst you're traveling? And where does salah become invalidated in your travel? And where are you exempt from praying salah on that particular day, on that time? When? Only on the day of Muzdalifah. Where you do not pray Salatul Zuhr on its time, rather you join it with Salatul Asr, regardless of what madhab you follow. And Salatul Maghrib, you do not pray it on that day, on that particular time, rather you join it with Salatul Maghrib on that particular day. Because why? The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam done this. So all of it goes back to what? Think. Who does it go back to? The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You become aware of him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You become aware of him. Realize that you're the Muslimun. There is a reason the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ana madinatul ilm, wa aliyun babuha." That I am the city of knowledge, and Ali is the door to it. Why did he sallallahu alaihi wasallam say this? Why? One of the reasons given is that we were told there will come a time when people will claim to have more knowledge than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. La hawla wa la. And surely in today's day and time you will hear some extremely misguided, deviant individuals who say that we have more knowledge than the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why? They say, well, because we know the Sahasatta by heart, the 6 hadith kitabs by heart, we are hafid of the Quran, we are mufassir of the Quran, we are alim, we are faqih, we are mujtahid, sahih. We have knowledge of mantiq, we have knowledge of ilm al-kalam, we have knowledge of Yunan, we are tib, we are this, we are that. So what? And who did it come from? The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our knowledge, or the most knowledge individual, your knowledge cannot even be compared to one drop of the knowledge of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is no comparison. There is no comparison. Rather understand this as well. Regardless of how much you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, regardless of how close you get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your whole life, your worship of your whole life, rather the whole ummah's worship, cannot even be compared to one rak'ah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's salah. It cannot be compared. The concept of it does not exist, because he sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the most perfect in every way, and everyone apart from him has deficiencies. And he sallallahu alayhi wasallam is free of all deficiencies. So the two main things that you need to become aware of before you embark on your journey of seeking sacred knowledge: number one, patience. Patience. Think, the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the meaning of what he said, that to seek sacred knowledge, travel to the borders of Sin, of China if you have to. Travel if you have to. But today, if knowledge is being given to you, you will be extremely foolish to not take it. You will be extremely dumb to put it to one side. You will be counted amongst those people. If knowledge of the deen is given to you, you will be counted amongst those people who on the night of Mi'raj, you know, the night of Mi'raj, the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he saw. This can be found in the hadith of Mi'raj, in the Riyadh al-Salihin, compiled by Imam Nawawi radiyallahu anhu. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of the things he saw was an individual who around his neck was a garland of fire. And this garland of fire was attached to a mill. And this individual was being whipped by an angel. And this angel had no eyes, had no mouth, had no ears. Rather, it was just following instructions blindly, where he was whipping the man in front of him and walking around in a circle. And this man was being whipped. And that whip was made of fire. And remember, this is the fire of hellfire, which is 70,000 times more hot and scornful and worse than the fire of the dunya. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, why is this individual being punished in such a way, where he keeps going round and round in the mill, yet nothing comes out of it? So there is no use in him pulling the mill. Why is he being punished in such a way? Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam informed the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, and the deep explanation of this particular hadith, this part of the hadith, can be found in the Ihya Ulumuddin of Imam Al-Ghazali. He said that this man, he learned the deen. He learned the deen, but he did not practice upon it. He did not implement it in his life, nor did he pass it on to other people. Allah. This is the punishment for it. Ayyuhal Akhwatul Muslimun, this is something very deep, and very disturbing and very worrying for us. That what kind of people are we? What category do we fall into? And then the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was shown a group of people who were made to sit on beautiful thrones that are beyond our imagination, and on their heads crowns were put. Crowns were put, and these crowns were shining whiter than the moon, and they were more decorated than the most expensive pearl and diamond that you will find in the dunya. And they were being honored with the libas of Jannah, the clothing of Jannah, the jabba, the thawb, and the shawls, the ridas put on the shoulders. They were from Jannah, and to see them, it is beyond our imagination. And they were being honored to the extent where they were made to sit in the ranks of the prophets, though they were not prophets. SubhanAllah. It was asked, who are these individuals and why are they being honored? It was said that these individuals were the ones who became scholars of the deen, and they passed it on to other people and they practiced upon it themselves. Now, ayyuhal akhwatul muslimun, inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you brothers and sisters.